You know what they say. Houses don't keep secrets, but the people inside them do. Before we start, if you're watching this alone right now, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone you'd want watching your back. And drop in the comments where you're from, because maybe next time it'll be your name in one of these stories. I moved into the house in the fall of last year, a little one-bedroom cottage outside Portland, Oregon. I'd just ended a 7-year relationship, the kind of breakup where even your toothbrush feels like a betrayal. So when I saw this cheap fixer-upper listed online, surrounded by trees and far away from nosy neighbors, it felt like a reset button I was desperate to press. The house was old, 1950s by the look of it. Peeling paint, a single flickering porch light, and the smell of damp wood clinging to the walls. But it had charm. If you squinted, the real estate agent didn't say much. Just handed me the keys with this look like she was doing me a favor. That should have been my first warning. The second came from the neighbor across the street. An older woman in a housecoat and slippers, watering dead plants. She didn't wave, just watched me unload boxes from my car, and said, "That place, people don't stay long." I laughed it off. New place, new ghosts, right? What's the worst that could happen? That first night was quiet, eerily quiet. The kind of silence you don't notice until your ears start searching for something to fill it. I unpacked, made myself a drink, and settled in. Somewhere around midnight, I heard the first creak. Old houses do that, I told myself. Wood settles, pipes groan. It's practically part of the mortgage. But the strange thing was, it didn't sound like it was coming from the floorboards. It was coming from the walls, a long, soft shift, like someone slowly leaning their weight against the inside of the drywall. I told myself it was nothing. And the next morning, I was so eager to feel normal, I didn't even check. By day, the house was brighter, less threatening. The kitchen smelled like cheap coffee, and I could almost convince myself the previous night hadn't happened. I even laughed when the bedroom door swung shut on its own from a breeze. But as the sun dipped, the house changed again. A heaviness in the air, like something was holding its breath. And then, around 2:30 a.m., I heard scratching. Not the kind animals make. No skittering, no scampering. It was slow, deliberate, like a fingernail. And it was coming from behind the wall, right next to my bed. I sat up so fast, I knocked over a glass of water. The dog, a lazy golden retriever who usually didn't care about anything, lifted his head and growled. Low, guttural. I grabbed my phone and shone the light along the baseboard. And that's when I noticed it. A small, square panel, about a foot wide, almost hidden behind the nightstand. Painted over, but the outline still visible if you looked close. I had never seen it before. I told myself it was an old utility hatch, left over from when houses needed crawlspace access. That made sense, right? But as I moved the nightstand aside, I swear to you, I felt something. A warmth against the wall, like someone exhaling from the other side. I didn't open it. Not that night. Because in that moment, something told me I wasn't alone in that house. If you're still watching this, hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, and drop your city in the comments. Because trust me, this story's just getting started. And next time, it could be your place on the map. If you ever wake up at 3 a.m. and hear a sound you can't explain, don't go looking for it. I did, and I wish I hadn't. Quick, before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who leaves their closet door open at night. And drop your city or hometown in the comments. Who knows? Next time, you might be the one hearing things in the dark. The next night, I tried to tell myself it was just old wood, loose vents, maybe a squirrel in the crawl space. But deep down, I knew that little square panel by the floor hadn't always been there. I mean, it had, but my eyes had never noticed it. And now, it felt like it was the only thing in the room. I left the bedroom door open that night, moved the dog's bed right beside mine. The house was dead silent for hours. Then, at exactly 2:37 a.m., the scratching started again. Same spot, same deliberate, steady sound. Scritch, scritch. This time, my dog was already awake. He was sitting upright, ears pricked, growling so low it rattled in his throat. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The panel was open. Not all the way. Just a crack. But enough for the darkness behind it to look alive. I swear to you, I saw it move. A shadow pulling back, like someone retreating from the light. I bolted out of bed, slammed the panel shut, and pushed the nightstand hard against it. Then I sat on the floor, back against the wall, phone in hand, shaking so hard my teeth hurt. I called the police. They showed up fast. 2 officers. I told them everything. The noises, the panel, the open crack. They searched the house, checked the attic, the crawl spaces, even under the porch. Nothing. One of them gave me the "old houses make old sounds" speech and left. But I knew what I heard. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat up, every light in the house on, with a baseball bat in my lap. The next morning, I walked through the house like it was a stranger's. Every corner felt like it was hiding something. I almost didn't notice it at first. A hairline crack running along the baseboard. It stretched from the panel to the far side of the room. A thin, jagged seam I could swear hadn't been there the day before. And right above it, on the wall, was a single, greasy fingerprint, at shoulder height. Too high for my dog, too low for me. And then I found something else. In the hallway outside my room, where the old heating vent sat about chest high. There were scratches on the metal grill. Tiny ones, like fingernails, or maybe a key. And behind it, insulation, or what I thought was insulation. I unscrewed the vent cover, peeled it back, and pulled out a crumpled wad of paper. It was a drawing. A rough, smudged pencil sketch of a woman sleeping in a bed. My bed. Same position. Same bedside table. Even the lamp was right. The woman in the drawing had long, dark hair, just like mine. And beside the bed, a figure crouched at the wall, its eyes wide, mouth a black, open circle. I dropped the paper like it burned me. That's when I realized, whoever was in that wall, they'd been watching me sleep. If you made it this far, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and drop your city in the comments. Because maybe next time, you'll be the one hearing scratches in the night. And trust me, this story isn't over yet. You can live in a house your whole life and never know what's hiding inside the walls. Until one night, it decides to let you know. Before I tell you what happened, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who leaves their attic hatch unlocked. And drop your city in the comments, because someone watching this right now is going to be next. I didn't sleep the next night. I sat on the couch with the lights on, my dog curled up tight against me, both of us listening. Every creak of the floorboards, every distant groan of wind, and then it started again. But this time, it wasn't scratching, it was breathing. Long, slow, heavy breathing, like someone lying flat on their stomach on the other side of the wall, inches from me. I held my breath, straining to hear. And then it spoke. A voice so soft I thought it was in my head, but it wasn't. It whispered my name, Mallory. I don't remember moving. 1 second, I was on the couch. The next, I was in the kitchen, with every light blaring, phone in one hand, kitchen knife in the other. I called the police again. I didn't care how crazy it sounded. 2 officers arrived, same as before. But this time, one of them believed me. Officer Carter. Young guy, sharp eyes. He found something. In the laundry room, behind the old furnace, there was a panel. Bigger than the one in my bedroom. Old, rusted screws that should have been impossible to turn by hand. Except they weren't even tightened. The cover pulled off like it was barely wedged in place. And behind it, a tunnel, a narrow crawl space winding through the walls of my house. It reeked, stale air, mold, something sour and old. Officer Carter squeezed inside with a flashlight, while the other cops stayed with me. And then, a shout. "We've got a camp! Jesus, he's been living in here!" He called for backup. Inside that crawl space, they found a nest, old food wrappers, plastic water bottles filled with urine, a sleeping bag, drawings, hundreds of them, all of me, sleeping, eating, sitting on the porch, even in the shower. I could feel my heart pounding so loud, I thought it would explode. But the worst part, in the far corner, pressed against the insulation, there was a small, makeshift window cut into the drywall, hidden behind the vent in my bedroom. He'd been watching me every single night. Officer Carter came out pale, said whoever it was had cleared out, but the trail was fresh. They found a footprint in the dust that hadn't been there minutes earlier. He was still in the house. That's when the attic hatch above us creaked open. All three of us froze. The officer shouted, weapons drawn, and a face peered down. Pale, filthy, eyes wide, hair hanging in matted strands. He didn't run, he just stared and smiled. They dragged him out screaming, but the thing he kept yelling over and over was what froze me to my bones. I've been watching the pretty one sleep. The police told me later he'd been living inside the walls for at least 3 months, maybe longer. The drawings dated back to before I moved in. And the final insult? The last tenant never officially moved out. No forwarding address, no trace, just gone. The crawl space was sealed, the house boarded up, and I left. I don't even live in that state anymore. But some nights, when it's real quiet, I swear I still hear it. Breathing. If you think the scariest part is catching them, it's not. It's what you find after they're gone. Before we start, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with one person you'd never want secretly living in your walls. Drop your city in the comments too, because one of you watching this right now, this could happen to you next. It's been a year. I moved out the day after they arrested him. Left everything. Clothes, dishes, photos. I couldn't even go back to pack a box. And yet, I still don't sleep much. I rent a place now. New city, new locks, top floor apartment with no attic, no crawl space. I check the vents, the closets, under the bed every night. Because you don't forget something like that. Knowing a stranger watched you sleep, and just when you think it's over, you find something. A few weeks ago, the landlord called me, said he'd finally gone into the house to start repairs. The crawl spaces were sealed, the attic boarded up. The place had sat empty since I left, or so he thought. In one of the walls, tucked inside an old hollow beam, they found a notebook, leather cover, water-stained. Inside were pages and pages of writing. Dates, times, descriptions of me. What I wore, what I said on the phone, what time I turned out the lights. And not just me, other women before me. Names I didn't recognize. Mallory, Sophie, Amanda, Brooke. Some of the entries were dated 5 years before I ever moved in. Some pages had no names, just times. 2:12 a.m., bedroom window. 3:06 a.m., watched her sleep. And the final entry, scrawled in huge, shaky letters. The pretty one left, waiting for the next. They never found out his real name. No ID, no social security, no fingerprints in any database. They called him a drifter. But I don't think he drifted far. Because last night, 2:12 a.m., I woke up to the sound of breathing. And this time, I'm on the 3rd floor. If you made it to the end of this story, do yourself a favor. Like this video, hit subscribe, and drop your city in the comments. Because you never really know who's watching, and the next story I tell might be yours.